Hey guys, I'm Logan Freeman, and this is the Live Free Investors Podcast. I interview investors and business owners who share investment advice so you too can live free. Today, I'm talking to my man, Ruben. Ruben, in a few sentences, tell us who you are and what you do.
Thank you for having me on, Logan. I am Ruben Greth. I am the son of a investor who passed away when I was very young. And in order to pay homage to him, I really took it on to learn about investing probably about 10 or 15 years ago.
Yep.
And it's been an up and down journey for me. Started out in education, real estate investing education as a network marketer, and then moved into meetup host, and then interviewed some people and met some people that I eventually went into business with, started buying fourplexes here in Phoenix, Arizona back during the crash. Started recording some videos on YouTube, raised some capital just organically by sharing what we were up to, and then left the space after my partner and I split up and came back a few years later trying to sell as an agent, and that just sucked for me. But fortunately, I was introduced to the concept of multifamily syndication, and I no longer had to sell real estate. And so now I do brand awareness, capital raising, and thought leadership for a company called Bakerson that's done about 16 apartment communities all here in Arizona.
Man, thank you for that. Why did selling real estate suck for you?
I just couldn't operate with the people that I wanted to work with. So I thought I could sell to investors, but investors at that specific juncture in the market, and we're talking about 2014, 2015, they didn't need me. They were able to, a lot of the people that I was finding could find the properties that I wanted to sell them without me. So that made me have to, in order to make some money, sell like houses. And I just am not with that. So like all of the, going around town to about 50 different properties and then have somebody do business with somebody else, particularly when it's a family member of yours. It was just very disappointing.
Absolutely.
So it wasn't for me. It wasn't what I resonated with. And, God bless all the people that do that and are good at it, but that's just not something that was fun to me at all.
Yeah. Well, I wish that Robert Helms would have had his book out at the time. It is called Be in the Top 1% on how to be an investment property specialist. If anybody was in Ruben's shoes back in 2014 and they're in there right now, pick that book up or reach out to me because I can help you bridge that gap. Ruben, what is the best thing about being an investor?
I think I touched on it for a brief second, which is the homage that I get to pay to my father, who, I feel like I'm self-realizing in his behalf, as an homage to him, out of respect to him, out of memory for him, so it's a lot of fun. Plus, like, there's one thing about real estate investing that I absolutely love, which is going to title and signing paperwork and becoming an owner of real estate. There's just nothing that gives me that type of adrenaline on the planet like that.
I love it.
It's almost similar to jumping out of an airplane for me.
That is so cool. Thank you for sharing that. Man, there's a lot of changing kind of dynamics going on right now in the markets. And so I'm curious, keeping up with current trends and opportunities can be a challenge. So how do you stay up to date?
It's easy. I just interview people on my show.
I love it.
That's one of the bonuses about being a thought leader. You get to pick people's brain on anything that you want to every time you do an interview. Yep. I think we mentioned before the show, I met around 65 people, and a lot of them have crossed either $500 million or even some of them at the $1 billion mark. And to have people like that so willing to share their knowledge with me, and I get to pick their brains about every aspect of how they do marketing, how they do capital raising, and what makes it fun for them. And I've had some incredible paradigm shifts just interviewing those people. So that's a lot of fun. But the other aspect that's really cool about it is that I've found this to be a community, multifamily investing. There's people that I get to connect with all over the country. Ellis Hammond mentioned it on my show, and I get to talk to people like you and become friends with people like you every day, which is just, there's nothing better than that. Your network is a reflection of your net worth, and the people that I surround myself with they've really elevated me. So that's really fun.
Love that, man. Really, really love that. Thank you for sharing that. So I'm curious, what's the best advice that you have ever received as an investor?
The best advice for me, I was thinking about this before the show, and I would say to pick one specific little niche. Like even when you're selecting a podcast, you select a specific thing that nobody else is doing. For me, that was raising capital because it was something I was passionate about, but also because nobody else was doing it.
Yeah.
So like when I started, I was in like wholesaling and trying to raise capital and, short sales and fix and flips and, every little thing of that was taught to me about tax liens and negotiations and seller finance and multifamily. And I was trying to do it all and connect a bunch of people. And I didn't really get it until I focused on one little thing, which was just multifamily investing. At that time was fourplexes and stuff. And now it's, evolved into syndication. And from my perspective, just focusing on that one little aspect of multifamily business syndication, which is the capital raising part and the brand awareness and marketing part, has really had a major effect on how productive I can be as an individual and human being.
That's great. Have you had Spencer Gray on your podcast yet?
No, I've met that dude though. He's really cool. I found him at the IMN in Chicago, which was a mid-market multifamily. He's a great guy. So I'm looking forward to talking to him and eventually having him on my show.
2015, he had 0 units. 2020, he has 8,800.
So, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's very modest. He didn't tell me what his track record was at the event, but yeah. So I thought he was like a family office guy.
So you definitely need to have him. If you need another introduction, let me know. So this is your opportunity to promote somebody to the show. What other successful investors like yourself should be on the Live Free podcast?
Well, I'd love to set you up with an introduction, but there's someone that I specifically have in mind for your show that I have not met or had on my show yet.
Okay.
However, he's scheduled. His name is Tim Bratz. Are you familiar with him?
I'm not.
Tim Bratz is in his own little multifamily syndication world, has an educational platform where he's almost at guru status. He's got the mindset of a person that wants to scale in life and help a lot of people along the way. So he told a story on Instagram about him renting a yacht at like $200,000 or $300,000 a day. And, he was thinking he was awesome for finding a way to promote it. But then he pulls into the harbor and there's like, a $2 million a day yacht. And he starts looking at it going like, wow, like I thought, I need to scale to that level. So he's always constantly figuring out and thinking of ways to get bigger. And, I love people that have that maximizing success mentality where they're just pushing the boundaries of how big can I grow it and how much impact can I have in the world, not just, for me and my business and my investors, but like super 10X, 100X type of mentality. That's very exciting to me.
Very cool. Well, we will get Tim on the show. Hey, man, this is the most important question and it's very near and dear to my heart. So what is the best way that you live free on a daily basis?
I think, man, that's an interesting question. The way that I live free is, I think it's part of living a specific philosophy, a way of bringing happiness and joy and tolerance and, all this, I mean, particularly now in this environment, just to come from a place of kindness and a place of calmness and respect for other people where there's all this hysteria and people bickering and fighting and negativity. And, I think I've heard it from a few places. When you operate from a place that's empowering to others, that gives people a sense of calm about themselves just being in your presence.
Yeah.
So I really try to operate that way and try and come from a place of positivity. And I know the world is not all positive, but if I can bring a little bit of light and happiness and joy and tolerance in a space where a lot of people don't do that, I think that's a great way to live free and just to apply all the principles of the things that I study, like Wayne Dyer, and just coming from a place of how do I feel good and how can I make other people feel good, I think is the best way to live free that I can think of that resonates in my mindset right at this moment.
Spoken like a true investor. Ruben, how can we find you?
So I'm on Instagram. My handle is @CapitalRaiser. You can reach out to me by email, ruben@bakerson.com, or check out the website, bakerson.com. And definitely check out my podcast, The Capital Raiser Show, where we're constantly giving free educational value that a lot of people charge lots of money for. Lots of money. So we always try and give. We were talking about it before the show. It's just give it all away. Even when you want to be secretive and you really don't want to share it anyways. And I think Shelly Peterson told me to approach my podcast when I was launching from that perspective.
Yep.
And I've done it, so just give the whole farm away and ask of the whole farm from all of the people that you come on and see if you can get as much information out of them. Primarily, I'd say the majority of people have done so.
Yeah. That's very true. I really enjoy your episodes and the content that you put out. So thank you, Ruben. This is Logan Freeman with the Live Free Investors Podcast, where investors and business owners share advice so you too can live free. For more insights and ideas on how you can live free, connect and message with myself and Ruben on LinkedIn today. Ruben, man, thank you so much for joining us today. Until
Very
next
cool,
time.
man.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me. Take care.
Live free.